Honestly, I've never jumped into a marriage, so I have absolutely no experience, but I think you cannot compare this, you know. Jumping from space requires a lot of preparation and a lot of testing, you know. A lot of good scientists. That's what we did. That's why Red Bull Stratos almost took 5 years until we could do the final jump, you know. And marriage is a different kind of animal, you know. You meet a girl, you hang out with her, and if you love her, sometimes you marry her. I do have a girlfriend since almost 7 years. I'm super happy. It's a very good, powerful relationship. They always call us a power couple, Michaela and myself, but I'm not really into getting married. You know, I think getting married things are becoming more complicated. You know, if you want to split, you're not married, it's easy. You just go separate ways. You know, if you're married, it's difficult. You know, that's why I definitely think I'm going to stay away from getting married. But honestly, I didn't choose the adrenaline lifestyle. You know, I just did something where adrenaline is included. You know, skydiving. When I started skydiving, it was a childhood dream. I started when I was 16 years old. I had a second childhood dream, flying helicopters, but I never had the money. Yeah, so I was waiting and waiting, and because of all my skydives, one day I started to make some money, you know, and then I took skydiving helicopter lessons in 2006, went to Los Angeles, did my helicopter license there, and again, you know, I invested a lot of money, a lot of time, a lot of effort and passion, and now I'm in a very lucky position that I can fly for the Flying Bulls. Yeah, that's why we're here today, working on my aerobatic skills. And of course there's adrenaline involved, but I was never looking for adrenaline. It was more the challenge that really turns me on, not adrenaline. You know, the same thing, you know, when I was at the military, a military skydiver in Austria, you're off duty after 5 p.m. and I wanted to do something, and I always wanted to box, but my parents never allowed boxing. But at that time I was far away from my parents' house, and I took some boxing lessons. And before my military contract was over, I wanted to do a professional boxing fight. And so I prepared for that fight half a year, very hard training and everything, and they taught me how to box, and then I went into the ring against the Croatian champion. I think his name was Dinko Borobija or something, yeah. And I knocked him out in the first round. And it was like, I didn't know what was going on. It was such a surprise, but you know, I'm very flexible, I'm very fast, and yeah. But I never wanted to become a professional boxer because it's just so demanding, you know. It's a lot of suffering. It's boxing every day, every weekend, and I was never seeking for a career as a professional boxer. So I was stuck to skydiving, and today I can tell you that was the right decision. I'm not a fixed-wing pilot, you know, but I'm looking at all those guys at the Flying Bulls, and there's just so many interesting planes that I would love to fly. I think my favorite at the moment is the Mustang or the Alpha Jet. Two different vehicles, but everyone has his own power and own opportunities. If we talk about helicopters, this one is definitely one of my favorite helicopters, a Bo 105. Reason why is because it's possible to do aerobatic maneuvers, which is very unusual for a helicopter. But this helicopter, together with the proper training, like Blackie, Mirko and Rainer, they all taught me how to fly aerobatic in this helicopter, and I'm super proud and grateful for that. I also do love cars. I have a little bit of racing experience because after my skydive from space in 2012, a year later Audi contacted me and they offered me the opportunity to go through a full racing practice. So they taught me how to race. And I was racing the 24-hour of Nürburgring called the Green Hell on an Audi, a top-level Audi, and I finished at 10th place, you know. And the same year I went to Australia to, what was it, I don't remember. It was a very difficult racetrack in Australia, and there also I finished at place number 10, so I know a little bit about racing. I also spent a lot of time on practicing rallies. Did a couple of rallies in Poland, and yeah, I have a couple of cars, but my favorite one is my Ford GT. So I bought it in 2005 when I was at Jay Leno's late night show together with Tom Cruise, and afterwards Jay Leno invited me to his garage, and he has a lot of really beautiful and outstanding cars. And right in the middle of all those cars, he had a Ford GT, a red one with white stripes, and I didn't even know that Ford is producing cars like that, and I was totally excited about that car. And he made the connection with Ford, and 6 months later, I bought the Ford GT in the US, and throughout my whole period of preparing for Red Bull Throttles until 2012, I was driving my Ford GT to all those cheap motels and stuff. And so there's a lot of good memories. And then later on I brought it to Switzerland, and now it's there, and I'm driving it almost every day. Well, I think everyone wants to fly as long as he's able to fly in a safe manner. The only limitation is your medical. That means every year you have to go to the doctor, he's checking you out, make sure everything is okay. And as long as you have a medical, you start to fly. And I think there's pilots out there who can feel when the end is near, you know. So they say, listen, I don't think I can fly that plane or helicopter as safe as it should be anymore, and then it's a good call to retire, you know. But you have to make that call. It's either the medical or you make that call. And right now, it doesn't look like I'm going to retire soon, because the next 10 years I definitely want to go on air shows. I definitely want to learn more on aerobatics with helicopter. And definitely it was my childhood dream, you know, when I was a little kid, and for a long time it looked like that dream will never come true because I never had the money, I couldn't afford lessons. But now I'm right there, and I'm exactly where I wanted to be. Well, honestly, I am a normal person. You know, it's what people always think, that everything that I do has to be extreme, but it's not, because I took skydiving to an extreme level, and helicopter flying in aerobatics, it's kind of an extreme level. But besides that, I'm always doing normal things like everyone else, you know.